Okay, so we're going to learn how to make one of these little fidget gear toys. And as you can see there, I've printed it into 4 different parts to show you the 4 different parts that we're going to be making. And it's just a simple little gear system.
Right, so let's go ahead and get straight into this. What we want to essentially do here is create a series of gears with a little mechanism that holds them in place so we can use it as our fidget toy. Now, there's loads of features in this, but one of them is a custom feature because when we're dealing with gears, we're dealing with specific angles and mathematical equations with number of teeth and how they interact with each other. So it gets a little bit more complicated. Now, we can physically draw out the gears on our own, but that's just honestly going to take forever. What we want to do here is go up to this feature here, add custom features. Now, when we click on that one, we're going to go down to here, feature script samples. And in here, we're going to type in gear. That's all we really need. And this first one here, spur gear, that is our custom feature that we want to add into this. We're going to click that. I'm going to click that. And then you're going to see here, a custom feature spur gear was added to your toolbar. Right, so here we go. That's the part that we want in there. Now, when I press that little down arrow, now I have that spur gear in place. And what it's going to do is it's instantly going to import one in here into my Part Studio 1 area. So this is our first gear that we're dealing with. Now, it's going to automatically open up this menu. There's loads of things we can do here. So let's talk about the different things that we want to do. So let's start off with number of teeth. Now, I just want as a little fidget toy, so I'm going to do the first one as 12 teeth here. There's a nice little bit there. So depth is how thick I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and keep that as 5 mil, actually. That's perfectly fine. Now, when we get down to here, the pitch circle diameter. Now, notice right now it's sitting as 12, which gives our module as 1. I'm actually going to change that pitch diameter to 20 millimeters. So 20 millimeters, actually 20 millimeters. Yeah, that'll be good. So 20 millimeters is a good size. Now, you'll notice this number here has changed. This is really important, okay, the module. We need that number a little bit later on to make sure that our 2 gears are actually going to mesh with each other. So we're going to keep a note of that one. I'm not going to do anything with the pressure angle or the root fillet right now. The root fillet is obviously the fillet around the base of that bit there, and the pitch circle diameter, they don't need to be messed with right now. They're perfectly fine as they are. One thing I really want to do is I want to look at these areas here. So I'm going to tick this one, which is a center bore, which is going to create a hole through the center of a gear. Now that is a massive hole. And so for now, I'm going to change that to 5 mil actually. I mean, 10 millimeters diameter is not too big in centimeter. In actual fact, that probably would have been all right. But actually, for the purposes of what I want to do a bit later on when I'm animating it, I'm going to keep it to 5 mil here. So that center bore allows us to quite simply put a hole through the center of it. Now, I could have gone up to sketch and I could have selected a face area and I could have gone to draw a circle and extruded into it. But I didn't need to do that because it has this function in here for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just kick down the profile offset. I'm actually going to come back to this later on because I'm going to explain what we'll be doing here with the backlash. So I'm going to leave that as it is for now, and then I'm just going to press tick. So there, I've got my first gear all ready to go. So that is my 12 teeth gear with a 20 mil diameter. Now, this is really important. Down here in my Part Studios, I'm going to assemble things a little bit later on because I want my fidget toy to be made up of 4 different parts that I'm going to put all together. So I'm going to go down to my plus symbol here, and then I'm going to create a new part. So I've got my new part there. My original part is still in there, and I'm going to come back to that there. Now from Part Studio 2, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to bring this one in here. This time, my number of teeth, you know what, I want to make it so that it kind of fits quite nicely. So I'm going to do 24, twice as many teeth. I'll still have the same depth, same thickness on there. And you'll notice, obviously, my module, this is what I was talking about before, is 1.667. So when I change my pitch diameter here, I'm going to go ahead and just double it. I'm going to make it 40. And then I need to make sure that my module is, oh, actually, you know what? It's come out as the same. But if it didn't, if I changed that, it would have made sure that my pitch diameter on each of those teeth would have been so that as it was rotating, it would have meshed with the other one. But because I've chosen a diameter that's double the other one and then double the teeth, it's actually worked out perfectly fine. Again, I'm going to do nothing to these two. I'm going to leave them for now, but I'm going to put my center bore in and I'm going to change that to 5 mil again. So they've both got the same pin size, okay? That's going to come to play a little bit later on. So for now, I'm not going to mess around with anything else there. I'm going to press tick. So I've got my small gear and my big gear all ready to go. So now I'm going to go down to create a new part. And this time, if you remember the little video I showed you of the existing one, I'm going to make a little bracket. Now, I need to think about the space I need between my two gears. So one of them is 20 mil in diameter, and the other one is 40 mil in diameter. The radius from the center pin to the edge is going to give me a 20 and 10. So I need to make sure I've got at least 30 mil between my two pins. So I'm going to go for ahead and do a 40 mil bracket, and I'm going to make it about 15 or 20 wide. So I'm going to go into my sketch here. And you notice obviously it's gone red here because I haven't selected a surface area. So I'm going to go ahead and click front there, and I'm going to rotate it to that as well. And then I'm going to go to my center point rectangle, and I'm going to draw my bracket here. Now, I'm not worried about the numbers right now because I'm going to put them in. So I said I wanted it to be 40 wide. And in terms of width, let's see what 20 looks like. It's a bit chunky. I'm going to probably go ahead. If I want to edit anything there, I can go to dimensions, and I can go down. I can edit things. I'm just going to go ahead and tick that there, and go back into my sketch and then edit that. I think 15 will be better. Yeah, I'm liking the look of that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click my sketch again, because at this point it's just a flat sketch, and I want to extrude it by pressing my extrude button to make it a little bit thick. That is way too thick. Let's go ahead and leave that as 5 millimeters, shall we? There we go, 5 mil thick little bracket that I can mount my two gears to. We'll go ahead and press tick on that one. Now let's go back to my front plane here. So I want to be able to put my two pins in there. Now remember, I need them to be 30 mil apart for my two radiuses. So I'm going to go to my sketch tool here. Again, it's all gone red, so I need to select the surface area I'm sketching onto. I'm going to go ahead and do that circle. And notice as I get to the center line, it's going to snap it there, which is perfectly fine. I don't know how far I am from that center point, but that's perfectly fine right now. I'm going to go ahead and just draw a circle. I'm then going to type in 5 mil for that. I'm going to draw another circle over here. And then I'm going to type in 5 mil for that as well. Now, all I'm going to do here is I'm going to go up to my dimension tool, make sure I've clicked the center of my circle and the center point there. And I want to make sure that, oh, that was pretty close. I am 10 away on this side and then 20 away on the other side. You know what? I think that's going to go over. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure the total is 30. So let's go ahead and make that 15. And then let's go ahead and go into there and make that 15 as well. And there we go. I've got 30 centimeter gap between the two of them. They're both positioned nicely. I'm just going to go to extrude at this point here and turn that back. Again, those pins are way too thick. My gears were only 5 mil thick. So I'm going to change them to 5. And there I go. So I've got my bracket all ready to go. Now let's go ahead and go to, you know what, I don't like the look of that. I don't like the look of those edges. So let's go ahead and do something about those edges there. So I'm just going to go into this point here. I'm going to round off these corners by selecting those lines. And then I'm just going to fillet it. And yeah, let's add 5 mil. That looks a lot better now. So I'm happy with that bracket there. I'm going to leave it as that. Let's go back into our assembly because now we've got 1, 2, and 3 parts all assembled and ready to go. So here's our assembly. When we go to insert, we can bring each one of these parts in. So I'm going to start off by bringing in my first part here, clicking that, and then that is set in there. Now what I want to do, I'm going to right hand click that and press fix. Okay, that's fixed that into place. That's not going to move around. I'll show you why that's important later on. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in Part Studio 1, like so, and then Part Studio 2, like so as well. Now at the point in time, I've got these bits that are moving around. I've got this bit that's fixed into place, which is where I want it to be. I now need to attach these parts here. Now, remember, I've got gears that I want to be moving here. So I'm going to go to Revolute Mate. Okay. Now, this is really important. I can fasten mate, fix bits into place, like gluing them together, but I want mine to move here. So it's already red. It's asking me where I want it to revolve around. So I'm going to go ahead and select that line there. And then I'm going to select this line here. And then I'm going to press solve. And as you can see there, it's snapped one to the other. We're going to do the same over here on my second one. So I'm going to zoom in here to that line at the back there. I'm then going to go to this line here, and then it's going to solve that next one as well. I'm going to press tick, and there you go. I've got the whole thing connected up and ready to go. Now, what you'll notice here when I look at the front is I do have a bit of overlap with these teeth here. So I'm just going ahead and press tick there because I've got those two. And as you can see here, I can move this one here and move that one there. But the program doesn't really recognize that they're solid objects. It doesn't really know what I want to be doing with these. So I want to be able to actually get these so they line up nicely. In fact, I even want to animate them right now. So there's a couple of things I'm going to do here. I'm going to first of all go into this option here and go to my make connector. Actually, before I set the pitch on that one, let's go up here. We're going to go up to our gear relation. Okay. Now this is really important. It's asking me what gears I want to have a relationship with. So I'm going to do this one and this one. Now I want to make sure that it's revolving that one and that one. Now I've selected my two revolutions and it knows that them two are going to be in relationship with each other. Now remember, I need to put my gear ratios. So I've got 12 teeth on one and 24 teeth on the next one. Now, when I press tick there, what should happen now is as I move that, can you see that they are moving together at the same speed? Even though one is bigger than the other, my gear relationship between the two of them is perfect. However, they are starting to overlap here. So I need to create an offset here. So as you can see, I've already got that in there. So I'm going to go down to this part here, and I'm going to select one of my make connectors, and I'm going to double click it there, and it's going to give me this option that comes up. Now I've got the option to move. Now what I want to do is I want to move it and I want to change my rotation angle. Now quite simply with this one, the way that you work it out is you get obviously 360 divided by 24. It's going to give you 7. It's going to basically give you a number that you can then double. And quite frankly, it's 15 degrees. Okay, rather than going through the whole mass of it, just putting 15 degrees. And that will offset your teeth perfectly. So there we go. Can you see? And that is perfectly done. So the last thing we want to be able to do here is go into our revolution here, right-hand click it, and we're going to animate it. Now we go up to here and we've got a couple of different bits. I'm not going to do reciprocate, I'm going to do a loop. We can change the step in certain degrees and various different bits, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to press play now and then test it out. And there we go. I've tested out and I've got my gears working perfectly. So that's essentially the steps that we need to do for our fidget toy. I'm going to stop that there. Go ahead and give that a go. Once you've done that, you can then start modifying things. For example, I'm going to go down to this part studio and I'm going to duplicate it to make a second part. I'm then going to actually get my first part and I'm going to go to the front here. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to go to sketch. I'm going to select these two faces here. I'm going to draw a circle on the inside there. Let's make it 3, for example. And then I'm going to go here and do another one. And I'm going to make that 3. And then I'm going to extrude in that part there. I'm going to remove this time. I'm going to take out 5mm, so it's going to cut into there. That's going to make a little pin for me so I can go and connect this side together. So let's go back into this side and I can click my sketches from before. Now, before I had these set at 5mm diameter. Let's go ahead and make them 3. And in a minute, you're going to see why. So now I've got another part with a little 3mm pin. Let's go back into my assembly. So there's the holes I made on the previous one. And I'm going to go ahead and get those holes and I'm going to insert another part here. So I'm going to bring this part in here just like that. Now this is going to be a little bit trickier. What I'm essentially going to do here is this time I want to fasten a mate because I don't want them to be rotating. So I'm going to click that one there and I'm going to click this edge here and I'm going to make sure I'm very careful to click that inside edge right there. Okay. Now you'll notice this happens sometimes. It's kind of overlapped on that one. So I'm going to flip it to the right side. Now I'm going to press solve. And here is that little video that I showed you before of our fidget toy all done. I can then check my animation by giving it another little go. Yep, that's my fidget toy all perfectly done. And if I want to at the end, I can go ahead and I can start maybe selecting each one of these parts here and I can, here we go, let's edit appearance. Let's give it a color. If I want to make little kind of blue brackets, so on and so forth, and then go into my assembly, I've got it there. I can go ahead and get my other piece. I can select it. I can go ahead and right-hand click, edit the appearance again. I can add another blue one on there, or whatever color I want it to be. And you can start messing around with the colors and making something a little bit interesting. You can even then get your part there. Any changes you make to these parts here will then be present in the assembly. So maybe on this part, I want to select that face and I can engrave my name onto it. And I can do a whole load of things. So have a play around and have a go at making and animating your own little fidget toy. Give that a go.